This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from Cape Agulhas to talk to you all about fire and what it represents. We've spoken about the wind. We've spoken about the element of water. The earth beneath our feet has been mentioned. We will still cover the earth element in its real introduction of the element of earth. But now, fire, what fire represents. I'd like to consider for a moment what inspiration is. The passion that is driven by inspiration is the essence of fire. For fire is that inspiration that touches the heart and gives one impulse. For impulse is the nature of fire. Fire works through impulse. Impulsiveness is a quality of fire. Think of dance. Think of the great dance. The dance is the impulse of fire moving through our bodies, moving through our consciousness, bringing one to express. For flames express heat, they express light, they express energy, they express movement, the continuity of movement. It's fast. It's a crackling expression of sound, and it's consistent. And it is fed by the element of air, by the wind. So when we think of the element of fire, one needs to consider inspiration. What inspiration is, how it moves through the body. The power of the sun is that which inspires us. There is nothing more inspiring than watching a sunset or a sunrise, especially the sunrise, as it has this way of stimulating our consciousness with the inspiration of life, of beauty, and of impulse. And it brings to one that steady flow of the heat and the power of the sun as it turns from night to day. And in its proper place, the element of fire is exactly that in terms of consciousness. It relates to the breathing in process. For the in-breath is the power of the inspiration. And breathing in brings heat into the body. In the same way that the out-breath relates to the element of water, to the flowing down of the chi. The in-breath relates to the powers of the shin, moving in through our consciousness, into our forms, in the form of inspiration. It is the essence of sulfur in the body, generating heat to keep all the metabolic reactions working. For the impulse and inspiration necessary for the flow of chi is preceded by the element of fire's ignition. Ignition being a really wonderful word. Ig, relating to an ancient name of fire. Ignition, relating to that process of turning over, of change, that inspiration of power that moves through us, that begins the new process. And it also relates to the power of the sun in a way, for the power of the sun is what brings the heat and the fire element into the expression in this world, and is essentially the body through which the element of fire is able to find its source. Hence the rising of the sun is red, and the sun in its zenith is yellow. And so we see the red of the rising sun as being that powerful color related to the element of fire. For fire is red and yellow essentially when we consider it in its different forms, in its different aspects. And the fire element is also really, really important for one being able to start new processes, to bring in the inspiration necessary to begin a new project, to get the impulse and the tenacity. It relates to a certain element of bravery as well. Fire is fundamental, as is water, which is the out-breath, fundamental too. And air is the sustainer between the out-breath and the in-breath. So we see this nature of time becoming expressed in terms of the four elements. In the same way that the breath breaks down into four different stages of breathing. The in-breath of fire is fundamental to inspiring the mind and the consciousness towards change. In the way that the air element represents balance and harmony and the conduit between these elemental forces of water and fire, as the interchange between the element of water and fire. Water expressing the endings of things that matures into the element of earth. And after maturing into the element of earth, we have the impression of inspiration that's expressed through the element of fire. And the element of fire, being the principle of heat, is managed by the element of air, that is the conduit between the heat of fire and the coolness of water, as the process of change between. In the same way that the alchemical process of earth is that change from the element of water to the element of earth, where there is a crystallization and a maturation and an elemental attribution, and a separation that becomes a crystallization of the principle of earth. So the fire element is essentially, as we can consider it, think of it as the beginning process. The inspiration of fire is what starts everything. And it is the spark of life. Wonderful way of considering the element of fire. The spark of life that gives us that heat, that exudes the warmth that we feel in our hearts. For the heart is very much exuding the warmth of the element of fire, because inspiration touches the heart directly. And the element of fire is being considered in many ways. Obviously, the triple burner, relating to the Manipura chakra, relating to that aspect of the burning power within the solar power of the solar plexus, though it also relates in a sense to the powers of the head, to that inspiring force that comes from the head, an impulsive headiness, which of course the element of fire does relate to the Manipura chakra. And the Manipura chakra is a brain of its own to consider how this works. For example, if one's getting migraines, very often the migraines start in the solar plexus, relating to the chemistry and the biochemistry of the fire element producing too much acidity. And the acidity affects the head, causing migraines and problems within the neurology. So there's a very, very close connection between the Manipura chakra and the actual organs in the head, especially the eyes. Especially the eyes. For the element of fire it's a visionary process. It's about sculpting things with vision. And so we can consider the in-breath to be relating to this visionary process of gaining the inspiration in order to start a new development, to move in a new direction, to get the impulse for the body to flow in the spirit of the dance. And obviously, all four elements have to be brought into the harmony and the balance of the element of air. Though the element of fire is that primal force, and it's a very powerful healing ray, which is why we tether the healing energies to the sun normally, and the contemplative energies to the moon normally. For the out breath is that which is releasing and letting go of the physical, moving out of the physical into the extra dimensional, the element of water, the death process, as it has been considered by the ancient Egyptians, where the fire element is bringing in that astral energy, bringing in the astral energies of form into the physical form in the process of heat, that is thus able to capture the inspiration of life, so that life can become relevant in the physical organism and bring in the living processes of mind's thought-based emotional current that we experience as an impulse that makes us impulsive, which is of a pure emotional nature and inspirational in its subset. So I hope this is a little bit of an inspiring and enlightening concept relating to the element of fire. Good day. This is the Bush Whisperer, coming at you from Cape Agulhas, the most beautiful place in the world, enjoying the inspiration of nature. So much love.